This is Craig Durr, Chief Analyst and founder of the Collab Collective, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Decision Point, Workplace Insights for IT Leaders. Now, this is where I work on your behalf. You're an IT professional, you're seeing new solutions in market, and you want to ask some of those tough questions to understand what's really going on past the marketing message, past the sales pitch. And that's what this webcast is intended to do. And I've got another great one for you today. We are hot on the heels of Q-SYS with their Activate event. And I've got two of the executives that were presenting there. And we're going to talk through the product announcements, the strategy, and a lot of things that they talked about at this event. So allow me to introduce my guests. I'll start off with Patrick Heyn. Patrick is the VP of Q-SYS Marketing. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm excited to be here. Thank you. I'm relieved that Activate's done. I'm excited that we're now doing this stage because this is the deeper part. And I take a supreme umbrage with the fact that you would think that we would only talk about marketing, being heads of marketing for Q-SYS and Acuity.
This is my job here. I mean, you are a technology solutions company. And then I've got someone who I've had a chance to speak with several times, Jason Moss. He's the head of marketing and ecosystems for Acuity Intelligent Spaces. Jason, how are you doing?
Doing great. And it's great to be back here again. And yeah, we're all taking a breather from Activate, but it is not much of a breather because we're all gearing up for InfoComm.
Well, right? I mean, I love it. I mean, Activate, I mean, what I love about that event is that you guys do this live. You have product announcements, you have the product people come on and talk about it, you have guests. It's a very sincere, authentic event. I really like it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we take a lot of, I mean, it's a point of pride that we sell a platform whose job is to create live experiences, and so we like to drink the Kool-Aid and do the part that's maybe a little bit more labor intensive, but it creates a lot of excitement for the event, and you, like you said, you get a more authentic version of us.
That's
yeah,
good.
we love the line. We do it live as you do it live. Right?
Yeah,
paying homage to our customers out there who are putting on events, putting on shows, doing their things. They don't have a lifeline, so we don't give ourselves one either.
There you go. All right. That wasn't a marketing tagline, by the way. That was just you being sincere.
That's just how we talk about it internally. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get rolling into this activity here. Now, actually, Jason, you and I have actually talked several times, and I want to go ahead and revisit with this because there's a really great story that we have going on here. So I'll recap quickly. You and I first talked about Q-SYS and what you were doing. Gosh, it was back at ISC 2025, I think is what it was. Then we touched base again in person at InfoComm. And then we touched base again over another decision point. And across this time frame, what I like is that we saw what went from strategy to execution, and now you're almost in a very new phase of what I would call like expansion and scale. Why don't you catch us up on what we talked about before and where we are now?
Yeah, so it's been a great story arc. So we don't get to say the trilogy now, so I guess we're on number 4. So hopefully yeah, we're on a good one.
we're in the multiverse. Yeah.
We're in the multiverse. That's the 4th one. But we really talked about just like an idea of like an industry strategy of just talking about how the industry needs to continue to evolve for the future needs of the environment, and talking about what kind of needs were out there. And then we talked about the strategy of what we introduced as our full stack AV platform. And then that is what is needed to be successful in this world of AI and intelligence and delivering all that insight and action within, one solution. Then we actually, the last time we spoke, we started to, we took our Designer 10.0 launch, which really actually solidified the platform. Then the last time we talked is like, here's a bunch of products that we're actually delivering on the promise of that platform. And then what we're talking about here is probably our biggest expansion on top of our platform in many different years, and really going after a specific area of the market of the workplace on where we want to show how this actually evolves and delivers for our customers.
I love it. Now one of the phrases that you led off with, which it's a very interesting phrase, from places to space, all the way to applications.
Yeah.
It was almost having a way to think about how you can drive functionality, business outcomes to a space or a place or what have you. But again, I want to get past that marketing. What does that mean? help me understand what this
Yeah,
means
it's
here.
really what we thought of as it's really like a framework to just
Okay.
kind of get us all on the same page, right? Because every organization has their different marketing terms, places or spaces or whatever, or applications, or it all just gets very jumbled up there. So what we really want to do is to be focused on delivering an outcome. So let's talk about the places that we're delivering that outcome to, not talking about verticals or anything like that. So like a place could be the workplace, which we'll talk about today, but it could be a higher ed university. So that place could be the campus, right? Inside of these places are spaces. So let's, continue with the workplace discussion. There's meeting rooms, there's cafeterias, there's lobbies, there's the desking areas. All these are different spaces inside that place. So your place is made up of a bunch of different spaces. And inside those different spaces, you're running different applications. Could be your UC, your collaboration platform that you're running in the meeting rooms. It could be background music in your cafeterias and in your lobby. It could be digital or corporate signage that is going throughout your space so you can communicate to your employees. It could be wayfinding. And so each space in place has a different set of applications there. So we use this ontology of the place, space, and the application to describe what we are doing and how we are delivering value to that place, to that physical location.
And it speaks to the challenge that if a customer is starting at what you would call in the application layer, they're probably missing some of the outcome value that they can derive. Am I capturing it right? Like, how does that roll up?
You nailed it. I mean, the trap for some end users is that they go in looking to solve a problem at the application level, and the problem that you're going to hang up on is that a lot of those applications are not designed to work together. They're oftentimes siloed pieces that you either need an integrator or the end user. The impetus is on somebody to make them work together, and oftentimes what you're left with is custom designs and fragmented workflows and just like inconsistent experience. And so we would argue that like a good space, using our ontology, a good space is where multiple applications are converging, where audio, video, control are working together to serve an end goal. And there's not one application that's going to make or break the space, but rather like how they're all kind of coalescing together and congealing in real time. And that's the framework of a platform, and that's, again, Jason said it, what we've just described, this is probably not news to some folks. We're just describing the pursuit of a system level experience and not not starting at the application, because then you miss out on creating a foundation for all those things to work together.
And that whole idea, that philosophy, I think that's kind of what I saw you were fulfilling on with this last Activate. You were doing it very specific to the workplace in some very specific ways, right? These weren't just point solutions. They kind of fed into the larger full stack AV platform that we talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So like when we talk about a different space, right, in an application, what would happen is that maybe you would buy a solution out there that was very specific to we'll say your collaboration and just doing those meetings. But if you come into one of these big rooms, you might not be using it just to do a video call. You may be doing, kind of a war room sort of collaboration. Everybody's kind of getting together in person. And maybe you want to take pictures of the whiteboard or other things like that. Or maybe if you're at a media company, you need full surround sound in that room because you need to hear how your content is being delivered. And so having a platform approach to this allows for multiple applications to run in multiple different types of spaces based on the needs of the moment versus trying to buy something specifically tailored towards trying to nail exactly what that one thing is you want to do. And so that's what the full stack AV platform does, is allows you to have that flexibility of the platform across these different spaces, with the same audio, video, and control equipment and design and experiences, but the ability to run different types of applications for those end users who are there.
I love it. All right. Well, you know what? We're talking high level still strategy. Let's kind of dive into some of the announcements. So Activate had a lot of stuff came out to those workplace professionals, these IT decision makers who are dealing with the corporate spaces and enterprise spaces we talked about. So why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about that? So what did you actually announce at Activate? Let's go ahead and just give a recap of what are some of these key ideas.
Yeah, I mean, before we jump to the product, what we announced, what we'll say is kind of like the completion of the spectrum of collaboration solutions. So, over the last year or so, we've been painting the picture that, Q-SYS is known for these high impact spaces, these larger boardrooms or divisible spaces, these spaces that need very customized solutions because the space or the expectations are heightened. And then in January, we introduced Room Suite Modular System, which, took it one step down and said, could you, if you were willing to trade some of that like customization that you can do with an open canvas, like with Q-SYS Designer software, create a more standardized solution for some of these smaller rooms, more standardized rooms, these rooms that are a little bit more cookie cutter. But the Room Suite Modular System really addressed those rooms that were still like right there on the fringe and had something about them that could benefit from standardization, but also had, nuanced size or requirements of microphones and loudspeakers. And so it offered a portfolio of products that could allow you to get the best of both worlds, where we're saying a little bit of customization with some standardization.
Got it.
And during that announcement, we kind of, we painted the picture of this spectrum and said, hey, there's nothing, the collaboration bar scenarios, that's one that we're not going to talk about right now. We're going to leave that. We're going to leave that as a placeholder. And it was very much an intentional Easter egg that we buried to those that, yeah, for those that had the insight and could read between the lines, knew we were coming to bear with a collaboration bar. And that's exactly what we did at Activate. We came to market with our own collaboration bar that very much fit the best of both worlds. The best that you can get from a standardized bar solution, everything that you would expect from a bar solution, but exists within a platform scenario. So just on a very high level, it's a collaboration bar, obviously built-in microphones, loudspeakers, cameras, four to be exact, 50 megapixel cameras. All of which are delivering a very customized view of the room based on how many participants are in the room. And of course, that comes with a control device as part of that bundle, and an available microphone that if you have a little bit larger room or if it's farther distance from the camera, you can employ that microphone.
And then you had some other things that also complemented that as well, too. I remember seeing a scheduler panel, for example.
That's right. So not specific to Room Suite Modular or Room Suite Collaboration Bar, we had a scheduling panel, which was designed on the MDEP program and can serve any connected Q-SYS system. So whether that be a Room Suite system or a core-based system, if you have a need for a scheduling panel outside the room, we now have a solution for that as well.
Perfect. And then Reflect and Reflect Plus also had some enhancements as well, too, I think, right?
Correct. And in fact, that's the secret sauce for this. This is what is going to set our collaboration bar and our Room Suite Modular bar apart from a lot of the other competitors, in that it's all tied together with this cloud management solution that's helping you deploy at scale, manage at scale, and kind of the most important thing is that you're seeing place-wide data in a singular location. So you're looking at your small rooms in the same place that you're looking at the large rooms. But again, like Reflect is this connective tissue to delivering some of those pieces of data to outside of our own platform.
And Jason, is this the strategy coming to bear? Is this what we're talking about? I mean, it seems like it's filling a gap, those small, repeatable rooms that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about the rooms or, the bars or the scheduling panels, equipment. Of course, they're great and they're fantastic. And anybody who's, expects a certain level of quality out of any, piece of hardware that QSE provides to the market, all these Q-SYS solutions, meet that bar and above. No pun intended with the bars. But it isn't about the bar, right? it is really about the platform and extending the platform, making it easier. So you have one connection, enterprise-wide visibility into these solutions, and just making it overall easier. And then once you have this platform there, we really get beyond the room, or we can say back into our other ontology, more spaces, right? Okay. And so now with this solution set there, you can get other sensor information. Our systems that are in the room will act not only as collaboration devices, but provide sensor data and be able to get that information, different things that we're doing as a part of Acuity and Acuity Intelligent Spaces, working with other elements of our organization, bringing things to bear in there. And that's also why we're so excited that this isn't just like collaboration in Teams. It's also, we're a partner with Microsoft Places as a data integration partner now. That was also part of the announcement, because It really showcases that you're thinking about the workplace holistically, and not only these Microsoft integrations, but recent integrations we've launched with ServiceNow is that once you have all this information, you need to work in those workflows, and you need to be able to talk back and forth and understand what's happening. So the whole idea is that we're trying to operationalize the data, not just collect the data, and not just collect the data in the room, but throughout the entire workplace. And our customers really said, hey, we really like what you're doing with Q-SYS. We like the idea of standardizing on your platform. We just need you in more spaces. We want to see it expand. And we're really excited about all these devices because we think they're going to be great additions to the overall Q-SYS portfolio.
So if I'm going to reflect this back to you, I mean, your DNA, you're known for these community spaces, you're known for these high impact spaces, and now you're extending to these collaboration spaces, which tend to be a little bit more standardized kit, to use the term maybe, that people want to have them at scale, rinse and repeat, deploy them out. So what you've done is you filled this in. That's just another bar. I guess before people would have to go off brand to another provider to fill those spaces if they've already invested in the Q-SYS platform. But now they can stay in platform, get the data. It all rolls up to this larger, more powerful story. Did I get it right?
You nailed it.
Can you write that down for me?
You want to be in USC marketing?
We're not doing marketing here. That's the one thing to keep in mind here. I just want to try and get through all the fluff here. All right. Well, you know what? I think the audience also does like to know about the device as well. So I do want to spend some time talking about that. Now, the collaboration bar really caught my interest. It piqued a lot of people's interest, actually. So Patrick, without going too much into the speeds and feeds, I know you've got some great specs on that, but I do want to understand more about the bar. What should someone expect from the bar? You mentioned 4 cameras.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the speeds and feeds, it's got 4 high resolution cameras. So it's delivering 50 megapixels collectively. It's got a 120-degree field of view. It's got an automated privacy cover, so when the device is not using it, gets covered. Again, a lot of the trappings that you would expect. A little indicator light to say, whether it's in a mute state or not in a mute state. And then obviously, a means of connecting your displays to it. And again, like for those that may be new to this market, again, it bears repeating that this is a compute as well. So inside the bar, it's an all-in-one delivery of all of those hardware devices as well as that compute, and in this case, the Microsoft Teams experience, Teams room experience.
That is actually really interesting because this is a Windows operating system on the compute. Explain that. That's really unique for a bar.
It is interesting, and it will kind of maybe give you a little peek behind the curtain, because this was a very robust debate. Right? Hey, we're going to come to market. We're going to, what should we come to market with? And, expanding out our spaces. And we thought long and hard, consulted a lot of customers, a lot of channel partners, consulted our platform partners out there too. And at the end of the day, when we're bringing something out to market, we thought it was best to lead with something that was going to be at the forefront of driving the new workloads of AI and things like that. And so if you look at the Microsoft roadmap, of course, they have great Android devices, and we are an MDEP partner with the scheduling panels. But you do see that the advancements come out on Windows first.
Okay.
right? And so we're like, okay, well, let's lead with that. And then also, Zoom still supports Windows in there, so we can, eventually look at expanding into other places with these. But the amount of investment that Microsoft continues to put into the Windows platform and its typical lead in its feature launch or timing to the market, we thought this was a really interesting place to go. And also we thought it was a very underserved market. There are many bars out there and many bars that are, burdened with extra Android compute to be able to run its own system. They're still connecting to a PC. So we just thought that this was an underserved part of the market. It would put us on the leading edge with where some of these AI workloads and solutions that were going to come out, and all those coalesced to think this was a good idea. And we pressure tested that with our customer base, and our customer base went, yeah, we understand the Windows solution, how we manage it through IT. So we're real happy with the early reception we've received from making this decision.
I joke that the Windows Android debate is it's like a religious war. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys. There is no right side, but everyone's passionate about the choice they made. But you are right in one thing is that no one has really closed the gap on a bar form factor for a Windows device. So from my point of view, what you're getting is you're getting the Windows goodness that you described there, but that ease of installation that hasn't been delivered yet in a Windows form factor. A single device, one or two cables, power, Ethernet, I'm sure, and then it's ready to roll, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Patrick, but this is Room Suite. This is part of Room Suite, Collaboration Bar, Room Suite, Modular. How do they play together? What's the difference? I mean, Modular doesn't have compute in it, right?
Yeah, that's a good interesting point of distinction is that, again, if you're making the choice between the bar and Room Suite Modular, things that you care about are as follows. If you want it all consolidated into one thing, the bar is obviously going to be your choice because it's got compute and all those devices in one. The inverse of that is that you have more nuances to the room. You want the opportunity to choose between your UC compute or a BYOD. There are also scenarios where room size and dimension really comes into play, where if you've got a larger room, or let's imagine that you've got a whiteboard that's outside of the view where a traditional bar camera may not be able to reach. Modular allows you to add multiple cameras and even let you choose which camera, be that a PTZ camera or an ePTZ camera, and really let you tailor the experience around the room and the expectations of what you get out of that room. But what you share, what they share too, is this desire to deploy at speed and scale and consistency. So they all share that cloud-based deployment. They all share the ability to do mass updates of presets and deployments and firmware. The dividing line is how many people do you want in the room and how much control do you want over what is in view of the camera?
The modular suite solution, Room Suite Modular, has additional USB bridge. It has some other elements in there for a little bit more unique room, not necessarily cookie cutter, but look, where you have to probably install reinforced sound or something like that, right?
Correct. Yeah. If you've got microphone's another good example. The collaboration bar is relegated to the onboard microphone or the puck microphone that sits on the table. You might be a user that has a desire for a ceiling microphone, or there are dimensions around the room that make a ceiling microphone more enticing. That's when you would traverse over to that Room Suite Modulars.
I like it. I don't know if I'm asking enough tough questions. Let me try and see if I can find a tough one here. I promise tough ones. Let me see if this works here. Well, here's one. How would you justify this collaboration bar versus all these other bars in the market? I mean, there's a lot of bars out there. I think everybody and their grandmother could say they have a bar, but yours, you're telling me it's unique. You hit some of the ideas. What's that elevator pitch of why it's unique?
Yeah, I think Jason hit the nail on the head. There are lots of good bars out there, and ours is a good bar. We made a good bar. Lots of people make good bars. but not every bar connects to the greater place. Not every bar is taking advantage of what a full stack AV platform is delivering at the cloud layer, and the coalescing of all of that data and serving that up to other ecosystems. That's what you're investing in. You can go out and buy any old bar in most retailers. You'll be well served, but it's probably not going to get you beyond that room. And if you're thinking beyond that room, that's the difference. That's the choice that you're making when you're choosing our bar. And in fact, we fully acknowledge that most of the customers in the initial rollout of the product, they're probably going to be Q-SYS customers that have traditionally, for those standardized rooms, have gone to other manufacturers, but would have preferred to keep it in the family, to coin a phrase, like it, because they already have invested in a platform. They already see the value of that collective data, and they were making a concession to that, because we didn't have a bar solution to offer. And now you don't have to make that concession. Now you can cover your entire place with, the same quality and richness of data and experience with the Q-SYS platform.
I like it. Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah, I can just add, just coming off the top of my head here of an analogy to think about is, something we all know as phones. It would be a little odd if you were an Android Samsung Galaxy user and you bought a pair of AirPods. Right? It's like, okay, no, you've chosen that. But if you're in the Apple ecosystem and you're an iOS user, those AirPods make a ton of sense, right? So really, to kind of what Patrick said, like the value is the total ecosystem and platform of what Q-SYS provides, right? And that is really the differentiator, because you're just going to have a much better integrated native experience by selecting these solutions to work on top of our platform, and much more data and control, ease of use and deployment within that solution.
Got it. Okay, I'll buy into that. That's a good answer, Patrick. I'll give it to you. Actually, there's something I would even highlight. You actually probably didn't go there, but there's even the reverse. It allows this collaboration bar along with the room suite modular to be an introduction to the value of the full AV stack for people new to that area as well, too. They might be just thinking about those run rate rooms, but it seems like a good introduction. But I'm not here for the marketing fluff. I already said that. Let me move on to the next one. But actually, I do want to get into this one here. Jason, you did spend some time talking about Microsoft at Activate, and there was a lot of really cool things you guys talked about with that. But I want to understand more about that. For example, you kept leaning into using this phrase, this terminology of being a trusted collaborator with Microsoft, a trusted partner, and it wasn't just we're certified. Dive into that for me. Help me understand what that means.
Yeah, ever since we've been a Microsoft Teams partner now since, I believe, 2021, I think is kind of when, so we're a little over 5 years now. And in that point in time, we never endeavored to be a Me Too vendor to the Microsoft solution. We always came in and said, what can we do to help? Like, what are the holes in your portfolio and your solutions that we can bring to the table? And so we're not just chasing like another spec and another thing and like, oh yeah, let's just be one of the other OEMs that are out there and do that. We tried to add value. Like, we were the first to deploy Teams with spatial audio alongside, multi-camera support and second page experience to really blow out that whole experience, right? So thinking about different combinations of the things they have available and delivering that in such a way which is unique value to the market, and making sure that, when Microsoft has a challenge, Q-SYS is somebody that's on the top of their mind, is like, hey, I think Q-SYS can help us solve this challenge. There's something new and unique, and there's a problem we're trying to solve for the customers. And we try to be that trusted collaborator with Microsoft to solve those real world customer problems for them.
Got it. And one of the key ideas that you shared was this integration, this ability to provide data to Microsoft Places. And I want to learn more about that. Tell me, why is this unique? Why is Q-SYS the right partner to help with these Places needs for data?
Yeah. And so it's Places, because that's like the manifestation right now within Microsoft of how they're collecting data and, occupancy and, is this room being used? How many people are there? But that's not the only place that they're doing that. So Places, I think, is just a showcase for one place where the data can land. But the idea is that Microsoft wants more than just that particular data landing places. They want to understand context. So as they develop their applications and be able to better serve employee experience and organizational experiences, they need a lot of different signals from the physical space. Our platform provides that, and we can take signals and information and help make applications more spatially aware and add that spatial intelligence. Because really in AI today, the next kind of level of this is really spatial intelligence as we start to deliver that. And to get spatial intelligence, you need to have a conduit to get that information out of the physical world up into that digital world. And that's really what we provide.
Okay. And you know what I loved is actually there was a really great proof point of the Microsoft partnership, and that it was two ways. I don't want to steal your thunder, but although you already talked about it. Tell me about the Microsoft EC1 Building and Experience Center.
Yeah, the EC1 was a fantastic project. Microsoft was real excited about this. This is their premier customer briefing center where they get to showcase the best of the best that Microsoft has to offer, right? No expense spared in designing this solution. But as we know, like anytime you build up an experience center, it can get pretty stale pretty quick if you're not constantly evolving it and changing it and things like that. And the rate technology is moving right now is just at an unheard of pace. And so they needed something really flexible, really scalable, but also was built for the future of AI. And so we were able to work with them on coming up with a different installation than what their original plans were based on Q-SYS, which eliminated 7 different subsystems they had, consolidated down to 1, and also eliminating roughly 1,500 points of failure by getting it all network connected. All the meantime on Reflect, which is on Azure, which gives you a pipeline into all their solutions that they were delivering, and great certified devices for teams. So it was just a fantastic culmination of everything we're talking about in real life and actually delivered. So we're super excited.
Jason, wait, those are some really impressive numbers. Hit those numbers again that you just talked about, or share them again, Patrick?
I think Patrick just is about to fact check me.
Yes, thank you. So a massive installation, 70 different spaces that we covered with Q-SYS. We removed 1,500 points of failure by connecting integrated audio, video control. We connected 1,200 endpoints in the process. And all of this amounted to a reduction of 7 different subsystems, audio, video control, would have all been separate into one singular platform.
That right there is the proof in the pudding. That right there seems to be not only a statement about the technology partnership and the collaboration coming together, but how you can do this for any customer, right? This is perfect.
Yeah, and it's not static. We're already continuing, even though the EC1 has been up for 6 months, I think, or like last fall is when it opened. There's already things that are continuing to evolve and grow as new capabilities come in. And that's the beauty of it. It's not like you install it and, hey, it's fantastic, and then slowly starts to age. This thing is going to grow and continue to grow with you and evolve over the course of time.
All right. I think to understand this, I have to take a field trip to Redmond. I'm going to have to, get you guys to that. But let's do this. Instead of talking about a field trip to Redmond, let's talk about what's coming up next. InfoComm. You have a chance to actually allow customers to see and experience these new solutions at InfoComm. What should they expect?
Well, again, anybody that's came to our booth in the last couple of years, we are kind of known for the experience tour that we provide. Not a lot of static kiosks for you to, look at siloed pieces, but rather when we say that we've got a full workplace in our booth, it's quite literally, we built an entire workplace in our booth. So 3 connected rooms where you're able to compare the difference between Room Suite Modular and the collaboration bar, because we're going to have an actual call that's happening between those 2 rooms in real time inside rooms that are aptly sized and equipped for the number of people and the type of experience that you want. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't also show our high impact space. So you'll see the latest and greatest from Vision Suite. And again, like for those that do want to get deeper on the collaboration bar and Room Suite Modular, there will be a kiosk to do that. But we encourage everybody, experience it, see what it feels like to do a call inside these rooms, and then get down to brass tacks with one of our specialists.
I love it. You guys have always had what I call the best experiential experience at these events. It's like a Disney World, ride. The line of people queued up outside to get in to see this is always, where the Q-SYS booth is when you see the line, I think. I'm looking forward to this. All right, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. Jason, I'm going to give you a chance. What are the key takeaways that you want people to think about? We're talking about your buyers. You're talking about potential partners. What do you want them to take about from what you talked about at Activate and what you brought to market here?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to thinking about when you think about the places, spaces, and applications, what we're really talking about at Q-SYS is the place. And why do we talk about that? It's the holistic view and that data and management layer of not just thinking about the hardware in the room. Hardware in the room is super important. You gotta hit the right levels of quality and innovation there. But understanding how all these places interact with each other is hugely important. How that data all comes together. And that's really what we're talking about is we're not trying to sell you an individual spot solution. We're working with you on developing a platform for that customer's future growth and how they want to grow and expand.
All right. I love it. That's delivered from the heart. That's not a marketing statement there, right? This is Jason sharing what's take place. Okay. Let's see. So if people want to find out more, I think, Patrick, you shared with me the URL.
You should go, if you want to learn more, go to qsys.com/room suite. And if you're going to be in Vegas and you want to see an awesome experience, go to qsys.com/InfoComm.
And they can also recap what you announced at Activate at qsys.com/Activate, I believe, right?
That's the one.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and look at my grade, my scorecard here. I think we're going to have to give you guys an A+ again. I can't stump you guys with these hard questions. I'm having a hard time with that. Anyway, Patrick, Jason. He's got a note for me here. I want to thank you guys for your time. Thank you for spending time here. This has been a great update. I love seeing the story evolve. Everything from the vision to the strategies being spelled out, execution. And what you're doing now is you're bringing it to scale. I love it. So Patrick, Jason, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Everyone, this is Craig Durr from the Collab Collective. I want to thank you for your time joining us to learn more about what Q-SYS announced at Activate this year. And we will see you again the next time on the next Decision Point. Take care.